Hello everyone, I'm Lori Radke with the Greater Green Bay Chamber. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Community Conversation. I have the opportunity to sit down with Corey Behnke. He's a producer and co-founder of LiveX. This will be a great chance to learn more about Corey, his passion, his history, and what brought him to Green Bay, and learn even more about LiveX. I hope you enjoy this episode. Sit back, relax, and learn along with me. Thank you. Hello everyone, and thank you again for joining us today. As I mentioned, I'm getting the exciting opportunity to sit down with Corey Behnke, producer and co-founder of LiveX. And let me tell you, I just had a tour, fantastic. So I'm really excited to take a dive in, learn a little bit more about you and about your company. So welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely, it's absolutely beautiful. Corey, can you share with me what was it about the Greater Green Bay area that you thought, wow, this is a place I want to expand my company?
I love Green Bay. I've always loved it. I've been in love with it since I was born here, but I think it was more of the doctor who was the obstetrician happened to have St. Vincent as his hospital, and I lucked out. I won the lottery. Mm-hmm. It's an incredible place. It has incredible infrastructure. It has a really good base of people that, work in manufacturing still, mm-hmm. and that make a good living. The Packers are here. Doesn't suck. And, when you look at downtown, Green Bay in its heyday, I always say this, I feel like Green Bay had its heyday like 1890 to 1920. You look at pictures from back then and it's like a metropolitan, beautiful area. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's going to happen again.
And you're going to be part of that.
Yes,
so I really appreciate you being here and your whole team and crew being here. You're really active in the community. And so I see you at a lot of events and out in the community. And so I'm sure you're familiar with new development. What excites you about how Green Bay is growing and expanding?
I think some of the exciting things, we're getting a climbing gym in Ashwaubenon, which is kind of exciting. The new Discover Green Bay Center that's going to be, I think, in Ashwaubenon as well. But beautiful. It's going to be awesome. Mm-hmm. The Mulva Cultural Center. There's so many things. I feel like there's more things focused on culture here now, which I feel like maybe have been missing in the past, mm-hmm. that are really exciting. The farmers market downtown is awesome. We all love that. That's our Wednesday summer. And some of the things that I talk about for broadcasting is this idea of lifestyle savings. And a lot of the reason that we moved here is hey, if I'm a producer or broadcaster at a high level, mm-hmm. do I really want to live in New York or LA if I want to have kids, or if I want to go camping, or mm-hmm. if I like some of the things that quote unquote are not, heavy concrete metropolitan urban things. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the most exciting thing about Green Bay is that, I always say we need 100,000 more people, just 150,000 more people. Just come here and we'll be awesome. Yeah, it'll be good.
That's awesome to hear. Just, on the tour with you and talking with you, frequently people from out of state come here, right? They come to see you, they come to use your facilities and your expertise. What are the things that you like to show off in the Greater Green Bay area that's unique to Green Bay? So
many things. If they like biking, we'll go on a bike trail together usually. I took a client to Blue last night. It's one of our favorite places. It's in De Pere, great restaurant, mm-hmm. got a nice little vibe of all the shopping centers area. And I love the downtown here. So, downtown, I go to C Street, I go, mm-hmm. Go to Swamico, go to Chives. I mean, I'm huge on the restaurants, so mm-hmm. all the things I probably said are restaurants.
You're making me hungry, but yeah that's great.
And, I enjoy, I am blessed to be able to live across the street from Lambeau Field. So mm-hmm. It's really, I get to look at my lake every day, which my lake is Lambeau. And so I have it good. So usually, I take people there. Because seeing Lambeau, if they came here for us, they got to see Lambeau, right? Right. But yeah, there's so many things here for people to do. I mean, I took my niece and nephew to Bay Beach and they had an incredible time. And it's just, it's I remember going to Bay Beach with my cousins when I was 10 years old and paying 10 cents. Now it's 25 cents, and.
But still affordable for a
so
family.
Affordable. There's no entry fee. There's no parking. And you go on the Ferris wheel, you see the bay and it's incredible. Nicolay Drive, East Shore Parkway. These are they're little getaways, they're little hideaways that only people that live here really know about them. Like I told somebody about the Lambeau Cottage that UWGB runs, right? No one's ever heard of that. I know Packer fans, they have no idea that exists. You go there and it's gorgeous, and you're just like, this is really cool, you know? There's a lot of cool little places if you just, Fond du Lac Falls, right?
Beautiful.
It's gorgeous. And like, I found this postcard from like 1918 that showed Fond du Lac Glen, and it's like incredible. And it's like, it's been there for a long time. And like, a lot of people, they don't necessarily search that out, but if that's what's great about Northeast Wisconsin. Like, there's so much beautiful nature here. And it's one of the most beautiful, in my opinion, it's like people in New York will be like, oh, you should go to Connecticut. You should go to New Jersey. You should go to Long Island. And I would go to those places and I was like, this isn't Wisconsin.
Right.
Like, it just doesn't feel, it doesn't have that vibe, and Wisconsin has a vibe that the people make. It's like the Great Lakes itself. Like we're at the doorway of the Great Lakes, right? We're at the beginning of the Lake Winnebago is the beginning of the Niagara Escarpment, right? And this treasure that we have between us and Canada, it's incredible.
Just hearing your passion and seeing it, I'm so happy you're here and that you've come back home. So we really appreciate you being here and being part of the community. What I'd like to do for our viewers that are listening in, talk a little bit about LiveX, right? So we had this tour, and I'm still trying to catch my breath about all the things that you do. And if you could just give us a high-level view of what it is that you do from this location.
Yeah, so what we built here is a remote broadcasting services company, typically focused on streaming. So we focus on live streaming, and we focus on live multicam production. What does that mean? So we won't do a commercial. We won't do a promo necessarily. What we'll do is we'll do an event, or we will do like a conference, right? So think about like live conference broadcasting. Right now we're doing a show called Kyle Brandt's Basement for Omaha Productions. And so Kyle Brandt, who's a talent, he's sitting in his basement at his house, and we're producing him, basically having guests on his show. So anytime you see something on YouTube where somebody has guests and they're calling in from somewhere and they're somewhere off location, we're doing a lot of those type of events and shows. And then in New York, we do a lot of field work. So, we're going, let's say the chamber would have a conference and you were on a panel with 3 other people. We would actually bring all the cameras, all the switcher, all the encoders, get it on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the places that you want it to go. And so that's a big part of what we do. And then the third piece of our business is we build studios for people. So there's
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's why the studio that we have here is kind of a showcase for like some of the things that we can build. So we have this year we probably did 5 major system integrations for betting company, for a journalist company, The Recount actually, and so a lot of fitness companies we'll work for. And so they don't really have the expertise to build the studio, set operations, do all the cameras and stuff. So we'll get everything ready, we'll implement it, and then we walk away from the project in the sense of like, hey, hire these people, do this, have this. Okay, now it's yours. Now you just call us when you need support or services.
Impressive. Obviously, you're very successful. Can you share with us tidbits of knowledge that you've gained along your journey and your path, and how you got to be so successful?
I have no idea. No, I have zero clue. No, I mean, I actually, funnily enough, was an actor. I thought I wanted to be an actor when I was 6 years old. I got my actor's equity card when I was 19 years old. I was off Broadway when I was 20. And when I was 26 years old, I walked into a broadcast truck for the first time in my life. And literally my passion for live moved from like, wait a second, I don't actually care about being on stage. What I care about is this whole idea of like a live event and
so
making something happen. It completely clicked. So then I basically worked my way up as a PA, started as a PA on New Year's Eve in Times Square. I've been working on that show this will be my 19th year on that show. And then I had a mentor who had done 6 Olympics as a broadcaster, and I just kind of rode his coattails. I always say, find a mentor, like find what you're passionate about, try to find a mentor, find people. There are so many people that are, and especially now being in my 40s and 50s, you want to help people. It's like, oh, you like this? Oh, so do I. Cool. Let me show you how you can do it, or let me help you find that. So, find what you're passionate about, try to find a mentor, and then take risks. You're young, take risks.
As we have people listening and watching and learning about you, what would you tell someone that's interested in getting into the industry as a career path? Like, I know you mentioned a mentor, which I think is really important. where do you find a mentor? There aren't many Coreys around here, so how do you find a mentor that can help give you guidance and tell you those critical things that you need to know as you start investigating if this is the direction that you want to enter or go into?
I mean, for our industry, it always was like you go to LA or you go to New York. You start as a production assistant, and you work your way up, right? And like, it's interesting because like we have this role called APATD. It's Associate Producer, Assistant Technical Director, and it's a lot of mouthful, but it's like this entry level role for people. Hey, I just got out of communication school, or I was just at Sirius XM and I was a PA, or you know, we pretty much take people who like they have like we have an employee here, Nicholas, and he went to University of Oshkosh, which actually has a really good communications program and has a lot of kids. He went to a minor league baseball team that I'm not going to name. Then he went to another minor league baseball team, and then when he applied to LiveX, he was working for a support call center for an auto company, which, you know, that's great. Like, but obviously he stalled out, right? He stalled out, and so now he's been at LiveX for 2.5 years. He's an incredible producer, and he loves it here, and he's just really good at what he does. And you know, I think you can't stop. You have to just be relentless. Especially in broadcasting. Like I am a relentless human being. You probably don't know that about me. But you know, what's funny is I find the best live producers are relentless so much, but the best ones are not annoyingly so. And I think I'm a little bit more annoyingly so than other people. But the best ones that I found, and you know, if you're trying to be in broadcasting, you have to be relentless because there's so many people that want to be in it.
That makes sense. What would you tell your younger self when you look at where you're at today? In Green Bay, sitting here, what would you tell yourself?
I mean, there's so many things. I would be a billionaire if I had that.
Yeah.
I would be so.
Yeah,
I would be. I'd be like. I'd already own the entire downtown Green Bay. It would be great.
That would be great.
I don't know. I think it's like. I think a lot of people think that somebody else is doing it at such a high level that they must be so much better than them. And what I've discovered is when you get to the high level, if you worked to get there, you're good enough. That's the thing I wish I could have taught myself because I never thought I was good enough. Like I never thought, oh, well, I haven't done that yet, or I haven't done that yet, which can help propel you. But I think that's what I would tell myself is like, bet big on these things and go for it, you know?
So you talked a little bit about you were interested in acting, right? And then you pivoted. Is there anything you miss about that acting piece, or is that passion getting fed right now with what you do? Yeah,
it's funny. Like I was the kid who, like, if there was no role for me, like there was one year my high school did Helen Keller, and I didn't want to play the dad, and so I was a lighting designer. So it's like, it always was. There's this thing that live broadcast and multicam broadcast and the theater have that's identical. So during the pandemic, we hired 6 Broadway stage managers because they had no jobs. And because Broadway stage managers are incredible. And like they have this like Broadway stage managers can easily become floor managers. A lot of floor managers in the Directors Guild are Broadway stage managers. So there is something about the theater about, hey, I have to have something happen at 8:00 and it's going to happen. And if it like it's going, the train's going, whether you're on the train or not. Right.
Right.
And there's something about that when you're a producer of that. And then you see that like New Year's Eve, right? It like, I haven't gotten jaded on New Year's Eve, even after 19 years, because it's incredible to think about like the ball drops and 2 people kiss. And for 15 years, I've helped decide who those 2 people were. And those 2 people that kiss, 2 to 3 billion people on this planet see those people kissing. They literally see the ball drop and those people kiss. Because that's the way we make the program. And so it's those kind of things where you're just like, nothing compares to that, you know? Like no theater.
Doesn't get old, right?
No, it doesn't get old at all. It's very exciting.
Corey, I've enjoyed talking with you. I'm inspired and I have all this energy. Your passion just is amazing. I'm so thankful that you are here in Green Bay and appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's awesome.